That confused me for a second. Sorry about that.
Out of my brain.
Right when we went live, you
My bad.
actually you hit the mute button, and I got confused.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. It is My Brother is an Idiot. This is our Scramble episode. It is a Nerds Week. So if you're tuning in and you're looking for nerds, we will be doing that here in roughly 1 hour. So we've got an all Doctor Who special we are very excited about. But in the meantime, we are here. We are very short manned, but we have done this before, so we will power through it. My brother-in-law and one of my very best friends is sitting across the way from me. Hello, Frank. Frank's playing a little bit hurt today, so hopefully we can goon.
Oh yeah, I got beat up by the flu. It seems like not sure yet.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Just hydrate, man. Hydrate's the important part.
Yeah, it just sucks being sick with two
Who did
kids
we get gooned
at home
by already?
on break.
Oh, Mama Toaster with the early goon reference on the comments. I don't know if they're on the road yet. Safe travels to the Toasters. I know you guys are headed to the Midwest, so be safe on the road. And hopefully we can entertain you for a little bit if you are driving. We are gathered here today. I bet you wonder why we're here. We're here to talk about the fact that the Broncos season is essentially over. They really needed to pull out a win on Sunday versus the Patriots to put themselves clearly in the driver's seat to get into the wild card in the AFC. And the offense decided to take a giant, steamy, loose, and liquidy dump on the field.
For like 2 quarters. Yeah.
I got the reaction I was looking for from the wife, which was ew. So let's. What do you think about the game on Saturday night, Sunday night, right? Saturday night, right? My week is all fucked. This whole Christmas on a Monday thing is wild to me. It has thrown my entire week off because it's basically just an extension of the weekend, but then it just makes the week all clustery. So like, I don't know. I feel like today is Tuesday kind of, but it's not, just really throwing my whole fucking week off. So how was your Christmas? Let's talk about that for a second.
That was good.
Yeah.
The kids had a lot of fun.
Good. That's all it's about. And you got to see everyone eat the fruits of your labor.
Yeah.
How many cookies were left over of the 8,000 that you made for Monday?
Not many, actually. A lot of them ended up going away.
I'm not surprised by that. They were delicious.
Apparently, the stiffies were the hit of the.
The stiffies were a hit. I know a lot of people that like a good stiffy.
Well, apparently, everyone liked them on Christmas. So,
got some stiffy lovers in extreme Southern Command, right?
Yep.
Yeah, fair. There's a lot of people that like a good stiffy. What'd you think about the game?
It wasn't good for a lot of reasons. Like defensively, we were okay, but there were still some mistakes. My biggest issue, honestly, this week was coaching. Specifically, offense and time management seem to be really big issues. They have to put more variety in that offense. The 500 swing passes and screens a game is not working, and it hasn't worked really this whole season. So I don't know why they're continuing to do that.
I can tell you why. It's because Sean Payton does not trust Russell Wilson as far as he can throw him.
Well, yeah, but that's a problem then. Then
it is a problem.
You replace that guy, or you get the fuck over it and let him try and run the game. But you don't hamper him by giving him short bullshit routes to the running backs all fucking day.
Who aren't very good, as we're finding out.
Yeah, and lost yards. We lost yards repeatedly on the screens and the swings and all this stuff. Russ, after enough hits, he looks lost in the pocket at this point. Like, he's always been an out of pocket guy anyway, but even more this season, you're seeing that he does not feel comfortable existing in the pocket, especially in this offense.
That's right, and a lot of that is the product of the offensive line, which is one of the reasons why I think the screen passes and swing routes and all that thing is kind of prevalent, is because there are two big dumb white guys on that offensive line who seemingly are just basically just doors that open um, quite often, and this is your weekly reminder, week 17 reminder that Ben Powers is trash. The guy can't block anybody. McGlinchey is awful. Even the center looked lost. Lloyd looked lost. And then Russ took a bunch of hits, and then next thing you know, it's midnight on a Wednesday, and he can't get out of his own way.
No.
And then he's causing holding penalties because he's hearing footsteps before it happens.
Oh,
and
yeah.
instead of stepping up into a clean pocket, he's rolling to one way or the other, and that sets their offensive lineup for failure.
Yeah, he's running for his life even when there's nothing to run from.
Right.
And I mean, that's what happens when you get sacked that many times, though, I guess. And there's, there was one, I think, pretty bad ref call in that magical third quarter that the Patriots had, where a fumble was a fumble, but was definitely recovered by Denver and some reason handed to New England.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the start of the downfall for the game, seemingly. And then just dog shit management, time management at the end of the half and at the end of the game. And that seems like that's Sean's fault too. Like, that, if you're not taking points when they're available while you have the lead, and you're giving the opposing offense who's wanting to give up and take this into overtime, let them do it. When you're struggling, let that happen. And
If you're
instead, they pressured them, and we ended up getting beat.
Yeah.
Like, that's,
Gave them the time they need to beat them.
well, they gave him a third down free play, essentially, which Pat had great coverage, but that was the best thrown ball of the day, to be honest, by either quarterback.
Right.
It's
not saying much.
Yeah, Zappy hit his man in stride perfectly, and that was the end. Like, what are you going to do at that point? They got what they needed. So
yeah, it was ugly. It was an ugly game from start to finish. Fourth quarter comeback. Russ tried to come back, but in the end, to no avail. They lose in the irregular portion of the game and don't even get to overtime. News coming today from Dove Valley, and this is really big, that they have decided to sit Russell Wilson down for the remainder of the season. The last two games of the year will be quarterbacked by Jared Stidham. Before I get what I think is the reasoning behind that pick, I want to know what your thoughts are.
looks a lot like what the Raiders did last year. And I'm assuming it's for the same reason.
What
Honestly.
do you think? What do you think? What is your?
They're trying to find a
Explain.
way out of Russ's contract, and him not getting injured is a good way to make that happen.
That is the primary reason why this happened, and you and I both know this. But for those of you who don't know, Russell Wilson has an injury clause in his contract, and if he is hurt during the season, doing football-related things on the football field or in practice, then he goes to injury reserve, and he's guaranteed that money. They can't cut him. So in order to give themselves the option of either renegotiating his contract or cutting him outright before, on, or after June 1st this year, they've decided to take that ability out of his hands to keep him healthy so that they have the options once the offseason gets here.
Yeah, the first cut date is March 17th, I think.
Yeah.
And that would cost us $80 million roughly,
mhm.
with 35 coming immediately. And which is, part of that, what you were saying, that injury. If he gets injured during the regular season, that 35 is automatically given to him, and his contract is automatically extended past March 17th. So
Yep,
that's
and then
that's
they're on the
probably
hook for
why.
all of that money,
Yeah,
and they're either way they're going to be on the hook for that money at some point, whether it's dead cap money or whatever. It's going to come out of their salary cap. It's easily one of the worst contracts a quarterback's gotten. I don't understand why they did it when they didn't have to do it, but obviously it's happened, and now the Broncos are fighting with that for at least the next 2 years.
well,
Once 2025 comes around and goes, the last year of that deal becomes like an $8 million cap hit, and it's not that bad. But the next 2 years, it's like 45 million and 35 million to the cap.
automatically, yeah, it's 35, and then I think it's like 45.8 or something like that.
It's ridiculous, is what.
Um, but apparently, the rumor also is uh, he is willing to renegotiate part of that contract.
He
And
better be if he wants a job.
I'm assuming part of that is not only is he seemingly understanding of he has not been effective as he promised, but also the need to pay for skilled position players, because apparently everyone we have on that team that isn't injured is slow. So, um, and or an ineffective blocker, and you know what we've seen, especially this season more than recent history, is the skill of your quarterback does matter, but his ability to have skill possession players that are also effective is gigantic now, because they've learned if you have a one skill player system, which a lot of teams have, you can stop the quarterback. You can stop him. Look at what happened with the Chiefs this year. People have realized, okay, so he basically has Travis
Travis
Kelsey,
Kelsey.
occasionally Rashee Rice, occasionally one of the running backs, but consistently it's just Travis. And if you can stop him, you can stop the Chiefs.
Well, and their running backfield has not been healthy the last few weeks, and
No.
will continue to be an issue because Clyde Edwards-Helaire was reportedly doubtful for the game, suited up, played, but was limited at best during the game. And Isaiah Pacheco also was hurt during this game.
Yep.
And they got fucking embarrassed.
Manhandled.
They got embarrassed by the Raiders.
That score is not an indicator of how thoroughly dominant the Raiders defense was in that game. They crushed the Chiefs' spirit in that game over and over and over again.
Yeah. It was kind of sad.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, from the outside looking in, that's a good thing, right? It keeps the Broncos' minute playoff chances alive.
Yeah.
Does VJ have a job next year? Absolutely. Vance Joseph is either going to be the defensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos, or he will be a head coach of a football team next year.
Yeah, he guaranteed he has a job.
The way he has dealt with the fact that they don't have anybody outside of Zach Allen and Pat Surtain, and they've moved people around to make people effective. And for those of you who don't notice or didn't notice, Kareem Jackson got cut yesterday. So that kind of goes with the theory that I said that PJ Locke is better than Kareem Jackson. The other thing that was hindering Kareem Jackson was not only the fact that he is suspended for the rest of the year, but he is also not helping his case by sitting on the couch running his mouth on social media every game, every time somebody gets hit, and he thinks that it's unfairly called against him. So I think Sean Payton finally got sick of his shit and said, "Hey, we've got a better player anyways. See ya." And it's unfortunate because Kareem is a big guy around here. You know, people love him, but his inability to play heads up football and the fact that he has lost a step or two has ultimate, and the fact that he can't shut his fucking mouth ultimately cost him his job.
Yeah, see, I don't think he should shut his fucking mouth. Actually,
I don't care. Obviously, you're not helping the Broncos. You haven't helped the Broncos all year, so he's got to go.
I'd say that's questionable. He wasn't really allowed to, and he was immediately picked up by the Texans.
And that's fine. They can have him.
Yeah. So he just returned home.
Kareem. Basically. I love Kareem Jackson. I think he's a solid player. I think he was a solid player. He did a lot of really good things here in Denver. He did not. Yes, and I know what your point is, but you have to change the way you play if you want to keep playing. I'm sorry, that's gonna follow you now. That's just the way it is. It doesn't matter, Frank.
Bad hit.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Oh, except for the fact that now that they're doing it to everybody, because they're doing it to Denzel Perryman, calling him a dirty player, who's had 6 fouls against him in 102 games. He's had 6 personal fouls. He is a dirty player now because of one hit that wasn't even a dirty hit.
Right.
Amon-Ra St. Brown blocked somebody and got got a $43,000 fine for blocking.
It's the nature of the NFL, and if you can't figure out
the nature of the NFL is the refs need to get their fucking asses kicked because they're full of shit. They're calling stuff constantly that is not a fucking penalty.
Is that going to change?
Fining them.
Is that going to change?
It should.
Is it actually going to change though?
If J.J. Watt and Tom Brady and people like Kareem Jackson and current players and the
only person that you just mentioned that matters is Tom Brady, and that's because he's on the ownership panel. None of those other players' opinions matter. None of them
except for they're part of the Players Association who can challenge some of this stuff. They have yearly meetings where they can say, hey, this is getting to a point where we can't effectively play defense, and you're making it impossible to be a defender in this league.
I agree wholeheartedly with your sentiment. I just don't think that that's going to change at all.
And I think it will, because I think this is one of the things.
It won't change this season. It won't change this before season, the end of this year. But so Kareem Jackson has to play differently, or else he's not going to play again this year. That's what I said 4 or 5 weeks ago. He's not playing for the Broncos anymore because he couldn't keep his mouth shut and he was suspended.
Yeah, but then they also got rid of DeMonte Casey, and they also got rid of. They've gotten rid of players that shouldn't have been gotten rid of. If you want to call Kareem Jackson dirty because his hits looked hard.
Did I say he was a dirty player?
No, but that's what they're saying. That's what the NFL referees are currently saying. Is that he's a dirty player. One of those hits
not only are the refs saying that, but the league office is saying that as well,
which is hilarious because John Runyon's one of those guys, and we have a little bit of evidence on him that he didn't really play nice either. And Derek Brooks,
just a little bit.
Yeah. And Derek Brooks, another one of those people who literally used to knock people unconscious on a weekly basis.
So the problem with your argument that I see is it's based a lot on hypotheticals that that things can and will change in the middle of the season. Yes, that happens, but the referees don't change that much from week to week. And once they've labeled somebody, unfortunately, you're just stuck with that label.
Yeah, but the problem is they're labeling everybody that touches another player as dirty at this point. Like, if you have you seen the NFL come out against their referees at all this year? I've seen the head referee and the senior referee come out against the referees a couple times this year.
Has the league said anything?
They're league representatives, so yes, technically. Gene Steratore is a league representative. He's the head of refereeing. Has come out on a couple of occasions and said, this was a bad call, this was a bad call, this is a bad call, these fines are inappropriate, and he's done it multiple times. So unless they're going to replace him, what the fuck?
I bought her present, and it's a heating pad for her back. I did not realize it also has a small vibration feature. So it gives you a little bit of a massage while it's heating your back.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that was a surprise. So We're happy. We're happy.
and the sad reality is you're 100% right. The
Yeah.
NFL's not going to do anything about it. You know
No.
why? Because the NFL can take all of this money
Mhm.
and pay all of their player fees that they're supposed to be responsible for out of these fines,
Yep.
which there's been 160 more fines this year than there was last year.
No. And they don't care because they're making money hand over
Yeah.
fist. So
No,
I
because they have,
get your
yeah,
gripe and I get the players' gripe, but the problem is none of that will change
it will
this
change
current
though.
season.
It's going to change at one well, not this season, but it
No.
will change next season because you're going to run into a big issue when people are like, okay, so I can't do anything, then I'm not going to do anything.
Sure. And that's going to make for bad football.
And
And
people are going to
then
stop watching.
then things will change. But someone
Yeah.
like Kareem Jackson literally has to stand on the field and miss tackles on purpose in order for that to get that point to get across.
Which
It's not going to
he
happen
took, and
naturally.
that's the crazy thing. He took some heat off of the hits that they ended up fining him for and suspending him for. He didn't hit like he did 2 years ago.
No, you're right.
You know, like 2 years. That's the difference between when he was allowed to do what he did and when it's illegal now.
Yep.
And it's
Um,
gross.
the NFL has a very misguided way of dealing with the injury problem that they currently have. How that gets fixed, I'm not sure, but it's a systemic issue that's been around since the concussion thing, which they still don't do right. Like we're still not doing concussion protocol correctly. There are players that come back too early. The fact that there have been injury reports that have come out this year where they said the third party person on the sideline specifically means that there are times when the third party person specifically is not involved, and that's a problem.
And you know what
Um,
the hilariously sad thing about it is?
they don't care.
No, not only do they not care, but their concern about injuries was primarily to do with what position on the field.
Um, the quarterback, but also defenseless receivers. Those are the
Okay.
two big
Yeah,
ones.
but primarily quarterbacks.
It's all
That's the biggest
offensive
one.
players. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
primarily
who
quarterbacks. Guess what this year is?
let's talk about the most jersey sales this year. What are
Yeah.
they? It's generally a quarterback or a wide receiver, right? Like those
Oh,
are the two
9
big
times
players.
out of 10, yes.
Right. Occasionally a defensive lineman gets in there.
TJ
but
Watt in Pittsburgh.
yes.
Probably Myles Garrett in Cleveland.
Yeah. What's the guy in LA too? He's gonna get
Aaron Donald, yeah. He's
Donald.
probably one of the
He's
top
gonna be in
ones.
there. But
Yeah.
it's guys like Russell Wilson. It's guys like Amon Ross St. Brown. These are the guys that lead in sales, which is all the NFL cares about is the dollar.
And
That's
guess
all they care about.
And guess how many teams have their starting quarterbacks at this point in the year?
Probably like 8.
Yeah, it's less than half. Less than half of the league. And you know
Yeah.
what the issues is? It's soft tissue injuries. You know how you get soft tissue injuries? Because your
Running
body doesn't
around.
get hardened. Because your body doesn't get hardened against violence. So when you do something weird, your body just destroys itself.
And most of these injuries that are occurring for some of these players aren't even related to football activities.
Nope.
It's more just planting and cutting and
Yeah.
snapping and popping. I don't want to spend too much more time on the shit that. No. It's an interesting conversation, and everyone's point is valid, and I think your point is very valid. I'm just being the devil's advocate that is the league and telling you that they're not going to change anything that they don't have to. But
when you run out of quarterbacks because they got hurt running, not because they got hurt getting hit, you're going to run out of audience because
is this
they
the
want to
Danny
see good
Dimes thing?
quarterbacks.
Is this the Danny Dimes? Are you still mad about Danny Dimes getting
I am
hurt?
still mad about Danny Dimes. But that's a separate issue. And that's the funny thing, though, because actually 3 of the most common complaints about quarterbacks is it's the guys that get injured, the injury-prone guys, the runners. Oh, you mean Lamar Jackson, who hasn't missed a game and has 700 yards of rushing? You mean that guy? The guy who's injured all the time? That's their big comment is they don't want runners at quarterback. They don't want guys that move at quarterback. They don't want all this because they can get hurt.
Right.
Well, the people that they complain about the most are the people that are still on the field. Right now.
Yeah.
So maybe you're wrong. I don't know. Maybe
Baltimore looks like the scariest team in the NFL right now.
Good God. The way they dominated the 49ers. Yeah.
But that's leading us into the next part of the conversation where we talk about what happened last week, and more importantly, what's going to happen this week. Yeah. We're going to talk about pick 'em a little bit. Most of the time, we've got a bunch of opinions, and I give people 8 seconds to get their opinion out. Nobody fucking else showed up for this goddamn thing, so Frank and I are going to make some picks. I'm just going to break ties based off of who I like more. That's what we're going to do. I've got Matt's picks written down. Frank already has them too because he's got the fucking kindergarten quality fucking sheet that he sent into us.
That was ridiculous. I can't even tell like the top 2 or 3 who he circled.
He could have just highlighted them, and he chose to circle them with the big dumb crayon almost on his phone.
Yeah.
But I do have his picks, and we're going to talk about the first thing is my restaurant doesn't know who won last week, but I'm going to guarantee you that we just sealed the deal for the year, and we won. We got 120 this past week. That's a pretty good fucking number. And just looking through the sheets, because I don't want to fucking score all those goddamn things. I don't have the time in the day. Just looking through the sheets, there were a lot of people that did a lot worse. So I'm going to call it a win, which that would make it week 6 for us this year that we have won, which is twice as much as the next one. The next highest is 3. We have 2. No, sorry. There's one person at 4 and there's one person at 3. Nobody else is close. So I'm going to call it. We won this year, guys.
Yeah. It's looking like
that's not even here to be the hitman with his new dumb sunglasses that you're going to see next week. He got Prime sunglasses for Christmas. Like the gold, the gold Prime sunglasses.
Oh, yeah.
They're gaudy as fuck. I can't wait for you to see them.
I can't wait to see them.
Yeah, because he's already kind of like shiny head, and then now he's going to have shiny face.
He's going to look like King Midas.
But anyways, I'm going to say that we won the 2023 regular season. We're really good at this, except when we put money on things, which we are not very good at.
Yeah, don't bet alongside us.
Do it if you've got disposable income that you don't care about. But if you do care about your money, what?
We would have cleaned up last week, I think, actually.
Oh, we would have.
We picked a lot of those weird games correctly.
Real quick, before we get in, we always need to talk about a little bit of degeneracy, and I think we would be remiss if we did not mention the gentleman who on FanDuel or one of those had a 15 leg.
Was it?
It was 13.
It was 13, I think.
It was over 12.
Yeah.
12. It was like a 13, 14, or 15. It was a ton. And they were all touchdowns. They were all game time touchdowns. Anytime game time touchdowns. And he hit, and it was like a $500,000 hit on a $5 bet. Congratulations to that fucking guy. I don't even know who you are, where you're from, what you did, but that's really cool because I guarantee you there's like 3 million of those bets that go out every week, which is why that company was like all about it and posting it all. Like, look how much money you can win because they're still raking in money on assholes who bet the fucking 15-leg parlays. You and my brother both do it.
I am one of those assholes. I will throw a 10 leg on whenever I can.
I mean, with the $5 free bet, you got to do silly shit like that in order to make a little money off of it.
Yeah.
But they get 1 million of those a week, so they don't care about the $500,000. They're still making money all over the place. But anyways, we got to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about some football games this week. There are some really good ones, and there are some really fucking bad games this week. Yeah. Let's talk about them one by one. Let's start pick 'em. The first game is going to be right in Cleveland, the home of the steaming shit pile that is Deshaun Watson, who we can't fucking stand because systematically got away with raping and sexually assaulting probably 100 women between Houston and now Cleveland is paying him a ridiculous amount of money to not play quarterback. All guaranteed, by the way. Good job, Cleveland. They have Joe Flacco. They are in the driver's seat. And they are playing the Jets, who don't have a lot going for them. The Cleveland Browns are currently favored by 7.5 in this one. Frank, what do you think about this?
This is the return of Flacco. Flacco hasn't played this good since the last time they won a Super Bowl.
Right.
And he looks damn incredible. And part of me wants him to win a Super Bowl, and then the Browns still have to eat that $200 million that's remaining on Deshaun
With,
Watson's
with
contract.
with someone who was on the couch in the middle of the
Yeah.
season.
Again. 2 years in a row now.
Yeah.
And looks like the least effective quarterback on his team.
Yeah.
Out of 4. That's impressive. But yeah, Browns. I'm assuming they dominate the Jets this week.
Yeah, and King Goon would agree with you. Let's move on to the next one. And this is actually kind of a good game. The Cowboys are at home, guys, in Dallas, and they are taking on the Detroit Lions, who looked pretty good against the Broncos. And then who is that?
Minnesota.
No, who is commenting right now? Sorry. Yes, you did, Mac. Sorry about that, but Russell Wilson, his contract is probably going to be changed somehow, whether they cut him or fiddle with the numbers a little bit in the offseason. That's one of the reasons why that's the reason why he got benched for the last 2 games, so they can keep him healthy, so that they can not worry about the injury clause. That gives them more options. It also gives them all of the leverage. It's the smartest move they've done in a while, as far as the front office. Anyways, the Cowboys are at home taking on the Lions. Cowboys currently favored by 6 in this one. Frank, what do you think?
I actually think that is probably accurate. And the only reason I say that is because the Lions defense, they are trash. They really are. That is a trash defense. They looked bad against Minnesota. So unless it's a steady dose of Jahmyr Gibbs with about 40 carries, I think the Cowboys win this.
All right. Frank has the Lions in this one. So this is our first tie.
I said Cowboys.
What's that?
I said Cowboys.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We've got a tie because did I say Frank? Sorry. Oh. Did I say Frank? I meant Matt. Matt picked the Lions. So we've got our tie here. Hey, man, I hope you're feeling better. Hopefully that all that stuff's going on and you're feeling good, or maybe you're taking a painkiller and you're feeling nothing. Hopefully you're just resting and relaxing, man. We love you. Anyways, really important, but unimportant to the conversation. We have a tie. Matt has picked the Lions. Frank has picked the Cowboys. I tend to lean in the favor of the Lions because I hate the Cowboys and I don't trust them. And I think that's what Matt's going to say too. So I'm going to pick the Lions in this one on the road. It's a weird fucking season and weird shit has happened.
And that's why I picked the Cowboys, because I think they got embarrassed and now they're going to want to go kick someone's teeth in again.
Yeah. Speaking of embarrassing, here's one. We've got a bird-on-bird crime incident here in Philadelphia where the Eagles are welcoming in them hapless Cardinals. The number on this one is currently at 10.5 points. Frank, do the Redbirds get within 10.5 of this one?
Yeah, because I don't trust the Eagles. Eagles still win, but I think it's closer than 10.5.
Yeah, I didn't get a cover or anything. I just got the emoji because he didn't leave himself enough room to circle that game. So he had to text it in a separate emoji. So you guys agreed on that one. I think that the Redbirds win this one. Or sorry, the Redbirds lose this one as well. Next game on the docket is not a great one. We are talking about the Atlanta Falcons, and we are talking about the Chicago Bears. And Justin Fields is back and doing Justin Fields things. They are favored in Chicago by 3 at home, which means it's kind of a pick 'em. What do you think about this one?
I have the Bears winning, and Justin Fields looking at where he might be playing next year in the Falcons.
Could he be a Denver Bronco?
Maybe.
That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
Could happen.
Some of the stuff that he's had some good weeks where I'm like, and he's had some really bad weeks where I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know. I still think Crab Legs maybe are starting quarterback next year, but that's something completely different. I just think that Sean Payton really likes Jameis Winston. Anyways, we all picked the Bears in that one. Let's move on to the Panthers of Carolina, who are going down to Jacksonville to take them Jaguars on, who are favored by 6.5 at home. Frank, what do you think about this one?
The Jaguars have fallen off a cliff, and this is going to be a Panthers win, I think.
Ooh, and Matt has picked the Jaguars in this one. Shit, I really want to pick the Panthers too, so I'm just going to do that. Fuck it. Why not? 6.5 points. Who cares? They're on the road. Jaguars, you said, look like shit. Their offense is nothing without Trevor. Let's move on to the next game. And we are talking about the St. Louis of Los Angeles Rams going to New Jersey, where they are taking on the who just posted that. Is that Mac again?
Probably.
I think it is, but I won't double check. I hate the yeah, that was definitely Mac. You're probably right, but who cares? This is fun. The Giants are at home in New Jersey, welcoming in the hapless Rams, or not very hapless. Rams on the road, favored by 4.5 points. What do you think?
I think the Rams get this. Their offense looks like it's finally complete, and the defense is doing good enough to get them the win.
Is Tyrod better than Gabagool?
No.
Have you seen all the memes about people saying that his 5 minutes of fame are up?
Oh, yeah. They're not wrong.
They're not wrong. I hope his agent made a solid couple of dollars during this run, because that guy will never see the light of day again.
Probably not.
Ever. Next game on the docket, another one that I'm not really interested in watching. The Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Oakland Raiders are going on the road to Indianapolis to face the Colts. And the Colts in this order favored by 3.5 at home. Matt has picked the Colts. I'm sure he'll just say, fuck the Raiders. What do you think, Frank? Fuck the Raiders?
I hate this so very much.
You're going to pick the Raiders, aren't you?
I think Minshew Mania is over, and the Raiders win this.
You're going to pick the Raiders. I don't know who to pick in this one. I hate both of these teams equally. That's not true. I do hate the Raiders more, so I got to pick the Colts. I'm sorry. I just hate the fucking Raiders so goddamn much. And if I'm doing this by teams that I like for the most part, the Raiders are the worst. I hate Jim Irsay a lot. A lot. I think that guy is a bag of nuts, and I think that I know he's a bag of nuts, but I also think that he's probably a terrible person. I can't confirm or deny that, but I just think he is.
What is it about Jonathan Taylor? Is a lean in your direction? So
that's exactly what I was thinking of. Next game on the docket is probably the fucking game of the week, guys. This is the Miami Dolphins taking on the Baltimore Ravens. And this is in Baltimore. Man, something about December football in Baltimore just screams NFL, doesn't it? The Ravens are probably the best team in football. The Dolphins could be that too. Frank, what do you think about this one? Oh, I forgot to tell you that the line is currently 3.5 for the home team. The Ravens are favored by 3.5. Frank, go ahead.
The Ravens have the best kind of offense against that defense, and I think that's what's going to give them the win. They're going to ram it down the Dolphins' throat.
Birds win. Actually, I can't. I'm going to do that too. That would have been a tie too. Matt picked the Dolphins in this one. Right now, I like the Ravens slightly more. I like what they're doing on offense. It's a lot of fun. The Dolphins look great, but their defense is a little shaky at best. It's a very good defense, but they just have some moments where it's like, the hell is that, Fangio?
And technically, I think the Ravens are still competing for the division, so they're not going to lay off the gas yet. Right,
and they may in Miami. Who knows what McDaniel's going to do? That guy's another bag of nut. A AFC North division showdown where the resurgent Patriots are taking on the resurgent Buffalo Bills. Vegas doesn't think this is very resurgent. Vegas has this as a 13-point spread for the home team, Bills in Buffalo. Matt has picked the Bills. What do you think?
Yeah, I got the Bills. I think last week with the Patriots they got a lot of luck in a game against an offense that was not playing well, and that's not going to happen against the Bills.
I mean, we've seen the Bills' offense look like shit, and I believe they are 3-4 at home this year or something crazy like that. They had a terrible home record this year, but I think you're right. I think this is definitely a Bills win. I don't think they're going to win by 13 though. Matt agrees with us. Let's go on to an NFC South. So we're going to go all the way down to the bottom of the country, where the New Orleans Saints are taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Matt says Baker Mayfield is trash. Give me the Bucs. Frank, what do you think?
I think the Bucs have found their starting quarterback for the next couple of years, and they win the division this weekend.
Isn't it wild?
Yeah.
Isn't it wild that Baker Mayfield is like still a thing?
Yeah.
Good for
He's
him.
also
man.
like a top 5 quarterback right now.
He's having one of the greatest. I mean, obviously it's his greatest year.
He should win comeback player of the year, to be honest.
Absolutely. He probably won't, but he should.
Yeah.
He probably, maybe he will. I don't know. Until the game on Saturday or the game on Sunday, I thought Russell was going to be the comeback player of the year.
Yeah.
But next game on the docket is another blowout. We are talking about the 49ers traveling all the way to the East Coast. They are favored by 13 in this one against the Washington Commanders. Frank, what do you think?
Despite late game heroics by the Commanders last week and Jacoby Brissett,
Washington.
that team still sucks, so the 49ers are going to win.
Okay. Did they cover?
Probably.
Yeah, I think so too. The Commanders are really kind of terrible. The next game on the docket, I don't want to watch at all. Although it may get interesting because reportedly CJ Stroud has practiced today. I think Vegas has gotten a whiff of that. As I take a whiff of this tea. Ooh, that's a super spicy chai. And the Titans are going down to Houston to take on the Texans. I think Vegas has already caught a whiff of CJ Stroud already coming back. The Texans are currently favored by 4.5 in this one. I expect that number to get bigger if CJ Stroud continues to practice. What do you think?
I agree. I think this is his comeback game, and I think this is where the Texans stamp their ticket into the playoffs. I think they overtake the Jaguars.
I agree. They win the division, right? That's what we're saying? Yeah. Next game on the docket, I don't care at all about. I give 0. This many fucks. So it's the Steelers and the Seahawks. Seahawks are at home, favored by 2.5. Go.
I don't care.
I don't care. I don't
Seahawks,
like either of these teams.
Seahawks win by magic. I don't know.
Both of these teams are on their third string quarterback, I feel like. Because they're starting quarterback or not starting quarterback.
They were chanting for Mason Rudolph this last week.
I thought, isn't he starting?
Yeah.
This week?
And he was getting chants because he had his best game ever as a quarterback this last week.
Yeah.
This game's gross, and I don't care. Seahawks, because who gives a shit?
Well, and here's another one for you. And, the Seahawks used to be in the AFC West. We're talking about another AFC West team and the Kansas City Chiefs. We have a comment asking about if they will win the West. This game would pretty much put it in the bag for them. The Chiefs are taking on the Bengals. Yes, it's just an AFC game, but they need to win out in order to continue to just stomp it out. Do the Chiefs win, and do they cover the 7 points?
I unfortunately think this is the closeout for the AFC West because the Bengals are so ineffective right now. Look at what happened to them last week. Jake Browning had his 2.5 games of looking like a superstar, and it's over.
Yeah, he's about done, huh?
Yeah.
I am going to double check this because I thought I wrote it down wrong. No, I didn't. Matt's just being a salty bitch. Matt picked the Bengals in this one. He just doesn't like the Chiefs that much that he refuses to pick.
I could see them winning if they rely on Mixon. But if they're relying on Browning, I don't think it'll happen.
Yeah, and I'm picking the Chiefs in this one, purely and simply because Andy Reid wants him to talk again about them Nuggies.
Mm-hmm.
Next game on the docket uh, is in Minnesota, and it is the Minnesota Vikings at home, favored by 2, which means Vegas doesn't really know what they're doing or doesn't really have a case on this one yet. But they are taking on the Green Bay Packers, so this is an NFC North game. The Packers are on the road. Minnesota favored by 2. Matt has picked Green Bay. Uh, do you?
I think Vegas is saying the same thing that most of us are, and that's that the Packers need to fire Joe Barry. Um, I think the Packers win, but Nick Mullins still gets like 400 passing yards.
I can actually see that. I want to check something on our comments again. I keep getting distracted by that, and I am sorry. Oh, that's Mama Sue. She's happy that we picked the Chiefs to win the division. Should have known that. So you're picking the Packers as well? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. I was sort of hoping that you would pick the Vikings so that I could say, since my wife's staring at me in the face right now making tea in the kitchen, I will take the Packers as well. But also, we are in Jordan Love season, and we talked about it. Green Bay they're set up again, and the Bears are pissed about it because they still don't have a quarterback.
That defense is just so suck ass though right now. That's the scary part.
It's an easy fix though, right?
Yeah, fire the fucking coach who doesn't know what he's doing.
So let's talk about a game that's near and dear to our heart, and it is the last game on our docket, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Denver Broncos. They are welcoming in the San Diego, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Coronesville, Bakersfield Chargers. The Chargers from everywhere. They don't really have any fans, so they're from everywhere. Taking on the Broncos at home. The Broncos here are favored by 3.5, which means Vegas doesn't have any trust in Russ being set. What do you think, Frank?
I think the Broncos win, and that's just because the Chargers suck. And I think Jared Stidham's tally for hits this year is good enough that he's not going to be afraid to stand in the pocket.
He's a big dude. He can take a beating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's it, guys. Those are the games. This is week 17. We've got one more week of this. I plan on doing this segment again. It's been a lot of fun this year. I've enjoyed the shit out of it. So hopefully you guys have too. Let us know what you think of the segment, the show. Give us some comments. Mama Sue's thanking us for picking the Chiefs. Lot of talk from Mac, which is great to see that he is at least up for a minute. Maybe not moving, but up for a minute. You guys picked a bunch of good games. There were a few ties. A lot of ties, actually, this week.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it. Do you have a dipshit of the week?
Yeah. The NFL referees, and it will remain that way for the remainder of the NFL season. Fuck them and everything they call a fucking penalty.
The Blue Jays might be. Oh, what? I was looking for my. I think the dipshit of the week this week is Tommy DeVito's agent again.
The one that got fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still technically working, but he's not allowed to show up to anything. Because if you guys hadn't heard, he renegotiated a contract with a pizza place there in New Jersey that they were going to pay him $10,000. He said he wouldn't show up unless it was $40,000, and so Tommy DeVito ended up showing up and doing the thing for free because we live in the age of social media. So if somebody says this guy wants to do it for 4-5 times as much as he wanted to, the first time they can just post that on the internet.
Yeah.
And now nobody likes Tommy DeVito anymore. But anyways,
well, there's still a lot of motherfuckers on the New Jersey Turnpike that do, but
that's true. I really enjoyed, that he's kind of out there. So, yeah, a lot of fun today. A lot of fun this weekend seeing you. Hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas. Frank, what do you got as far as wrapping it up for this thing?
Fuck the refs. Go Broncos. We'll see you next week.
Hell yeah. Fuck the Raiders and fuck Deshaun Watson, because we don't like any of those people either. You know who we do like, though? We like Gene Mingo a lot.
Yeah.
And the Cleveland Spiders. We don't mention in a while. We'll be back next week with a real full long show. And we will be back here on the other channel at Nerds That Know. If you're on any social media, go and find us at Nerds That Know. And we'll be back on there and doing our thing over there here in about 10-15 minutes. It is an all Doctor Who episode. They just had the new special out. We just watched it. It's fresh on my mind. I'm ready to talk about it. Give me a chance to potty and make myself a mocktail, and we'll be right back. Love you guys. Bruh.